Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod? No.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
I do it when I talk.
I know. Whenever you get like going is when you do it, and then I'm like,
it's the worst time.
I'm not gonna interrupt you because that makes it so much worse.
No, yeah.
Like I would just deal with the audio thing. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we are here today to talk about episode 268 of Adventures in Odyssey, entitled Pet Peeves.
Yes, sir. This is an episode about a pet and not peeves? I mean,
George is annoyed the entire episode.
Yeah.
I think that's the peeves.
Yeah, I guess so.
It is.
I guess that's the peeves.
Yeah. The dog is actually like a poltergeist.
Oh.
That's a Harry Potter joke.
That was Sirius Black who turned into the dog, right?
No. So you haven't actually read the books, you've just seen the movies?
No, I've read the books.
Okay, there's a poltergeist in the building called Peeves.
Oh! I thought you were talking about the dog. Okay.
Nope. It was a weak joke, which will probably be cut. But if you hear it,
congratulations! Thank goodness.
So this is an episode written by Paul McCusker and Chris Fabry, directed by Paul McCusker.
Chris, what? How do you say his last name?
Fabry.
Very interesting. What has he done a lot of episodes?
I am pulling that up right now because I was having the same thought. He has written 2 episodes.
Wow.
This one and an episode called Pipe Dreams.
I know that episode. Interesting.
There you go. So yeah, one of 2 episodes he is written. This is a co-write, and it's our first non-Paul McCusker. Well, obviously McCusker wrote and directed this as well, but it's our first credit other than McCusker on the George Barkley stuff we've been covering.
Oh. Yeah, no, this episode definitely had an interesting feel to it. It was... We'll get into it.
I think once again, like we talked about last episode, feels very like Arthur. Feels very like child's TV show. Yeah, talking about which I love. Yeah, no, this is maybe the weakest of the 3 we've covered so far, but It's still good.
Yeah, I would agree though. This definitely. It's just kind of like, okay, that happened.
Yeah. So the thing it has going for it is some great Connie.
Yeah. Dynamite Connie
and some okay comedy here and there.
Donna's not terrible.
No.
You get a lot of Donna in this episode, which, as somebody with a crush on Donna, I didn't mind.
Yeah. No, that's totally fair. Cast-wise, the only character in this that we haven't ever talked about is the dog catcher, which is how he's credited. I think he's just the guy who works at the pound, but they credited him on the wiki as dog catcher, which I think is funny.
Maybe that's a subcategory of the pound job.
Yeah, but it's just like he feels like he's working the desk at the...
at the pound.
At the pound. It's not like he's the guy going out and homeward bounding everyone.
Could you imagine though if that was your job?
I am so... It was interesting listening to this. For whatever reason, in the 90s, children's media, the pound was the worst thing that could happen to anything.
Yeah, it's jail essentially, but we can't show jail.
But it's the number of villainous animal control people in movies is so high. I mean, and I grew up watching a lot of like Homeward Bound 1 and 2 a ton. Great. Where like that's the whole villain of those
Yeah.
movies. You also have Babe 2, Pig in the City.
Whoa. I never saw Babe 2.
Dude, it's directed by George Miller
What?
of Mad Max fame.
Yeah.
It is absolutely nuts. It's kind of good. I don't know.
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed Babe 1, so.
It essentially has a Thunderdome in it.
What?
Like, he just lifted part of his other movie. I don't know. Watch. That's the plug for this week. Watch Pig in the City if you haven't.
Watch Babe 2, Pig in the City. Babe takes on the pig apple.
I mean, yeah. Also, is like, I don't know, probably like Hotel for Dogs, like the villain is the Pound.
Yeah.
Secret Life of Pets, I imagine the
Yeah.
villain is the Pound. There's just like, there's a lot of like animal-centric kids movies.
Yes.
And it's always like,
And it's always the Pound.
It's always the Pound, or the main characters are some variation of mice or rats. Those are the two options.
Yeah. And then, the villain is either a natural predator or Pound.
Or the Pound, because that is the natural predator for dogs.
Yes. Not people.
Right, no, it's the Pound.
Yes.
Back
Back to Adventures in Odyssey this episode. Did we do the writers?
So anyways, I think I was gonna say, did I say that Dogcatcher was voiced by Bob Luttrell? Because that's the thing I was trying to say.
No, yeah,
but I never got there.
That's worth noting.
We just got caught up on the fact that he is credited as Dogcatcher on the wiki. Additionally, Bob Luttrell audio engineered this episode, and so the dog barks are his dog.
Really?
Yep.
Aww.
Because that's how you do Foley work, is you just find the thing in your own life and you record it. And so
that's
so he is both dog catcher and dog noise maker.
Maker of dog or canner.
Canner. He cans the dog noise.
He cans the dog noise. It's in the cans.
Yeah. The other thing I want to point out in the context section is that this episode is where the album artwork comes from.
That makes sense.
Which we occasionally get to talk about.
Yeah. Put the pot on the head and everything.
Yep.
Was this album 12? Is that correct?
20.
20. Wow.
Oh yeah, I guess we didn't talk about that, but this is off album 20, which is A Journey of Choices, and it is track 4.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is a very George Barclay centric album.
I mean, yeah, like it, right. Oh, this episode, we didn't even talk about it. This episode aired May 14th.
Okay.
Which is like a month after Making the Grade aired.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah. And this is back in the era of Odyssey where they're still making not a new episode every week. No, is this album 20?
Well, yeah, we're basically getting a new episode every week. I think they might take like sections of the year off.
Yeah.
But I think they're pretty close to 52 episodes a year.
Okay.
Because I think they do that for like almost like the first 5 years or something.
They did it for a long time, and I knew that the Barclays were kind of in that era. I just didn't know if this. That would make a lot of sense though if they were able to do that, and maybe they just brought in this backup writer because somebody was sick or something.
Yeah. So this episode aired in '94. So there was 42 episodes out that year. So that was basically 97 is the first year where it's like only 15 episodes.
Okay.
But even then, they
The Dark Ages.
They still do like, yeah. They
How many
basically
episodes do they put out a year now?
Now they put out
30?
24.
24.
So it's 12 on the radio, 12 on the club.
Yeah. Okay.
2 albums of 6, plus a club episode every month. But yeah, when they started out, the 88 season is 49 episodes.
Yee.
Yeah.
They were cranking.
Uh-huh.
What do you say we roll the promo? Oh, wait, do we have cast? Do we have cast?
We only dog catcher.
Only dog catcher.
Bob Luttrell, also
Okay.
Bob Luttrell's dog.
We're all good.
And now we're rolling the promo.
Perfect.
Donna Barclay's desire for stability in her life creates more disorder than she bargained for. On the next adventure in Odyssey, the Barclays are struggling to cope with all the changes in their family, including a new job for George and Mary's unexpected pregnancy. But Donna's unwanted pet only makes matters worse. Learn more next time on Adventures in Odyssey.
That was a very nice promo. Made me very happy. I have a question for you, Dylan, right off the bat.
Okay.
We were talking about how often Odyssey's putting out episodes and stuff, right?
Sure.
So we're getting, at least in this era, we're getting a ton of Odyssey, but a lot of it feels kind of like children's television, like we were saying, like kind of like Arthur.
Yeah.
And our favorite era, well, I won't say our, but your favorite era, what you're saying, between 50 and, what, 40?
No, what it's basically from the big picture, which is 35, 36, up through 50.
Yeah. Which was not this era.
No, I mean not by any means. Like,
but
that's
this
like my
was
sweet
the era
spot.
that
Your sweet spot feels like, I don't like is your.
I don't even know if I have a sweet spot.
Well,
not
so
anymore.
like what I think of as like the Andrew era is like right around this album until like Wit gets back. Like
That's
that
like
feels like
Brendan's.
okay.
So
that's more Brendan than it is you.
I really got into the eras of Odyssey. Like, I really got into Novacom, but that was only because Brendan was into Novacom and like he already knew about all that. And so like I was able to listen to just the Novacom episodes because of him. And that was like the first, but the ones that I listened to a ton were just the albums that I had, which was like, I had this one, or I didn't have this one. I had the one with Aloha Oi, like
the album before this. I believe.
the album before this, and then I had album 3, and then we had like a.
Wait, you had album 9. You had Ice Fishing, right?
I had Ice Fishing, but I also had
Album 9?
album 2, which is Camp One and Up
Because
one.
I had album 3, which I
Yes.
knew you did not have.
Yeah, that has heroes. That has like a lot of like really important character moments, and I just have like Jimmy Barclay on vacation.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't know. That's my problem. Like, I don't think that there's not a lot of cohesion, and then like.
But like when I think about the episodes that you talk passionately about, it's like Search for Wit, Blackguard, Eugene and Katrina.
Yeah.
Which is all like basically starting up, like is basically like album like 18 to album, 25 or something. Like,
yeah,
it feels
okay.
like that.
So maybe that is my era.
I don't know. And I could totally be wrong, but I was just like, when I think about like, oh, what's the stuff that like Andrew is passionate for? But it's also like, you obviously had like love for Novacom and whatnot.
Yeah,
which is
that
why we
was
did
the part where
So,
it like very much
right.
doesn't really feel like
Yeah.
I had a lot of an era, because when I was listening to that, obviously there was new stuff coming out, and like basically I got into Novacom. By the time that I had finished Novacom, Green Ring had just come out, essentially.
Oh, interesting.
And so I was able to kind of jump into that, and that was fun, and I had that. And
Right, so at that point you kind of skipped like the Leonard Meltzner saga. And the,
don't know hardly anything about that.
Other Side of the Glass.
Yep.
The weirdness of album 50. Like
what even is album 50? I've
album
heard,
50 is like it's one of the ones that's almost a concept album, but it's like they're trying to bring back like a lot of old characters and kind of write people out, and there's a two-parter called like the Triangled Web, which is
I'm familiar with that one,
which ends with like Jack and Lucy getting married. Like, I don't know, like there's a lot of like
Jack and Lucy. Oh, that's right.
Because they're married in real life, so they married them on the show.
Great
it
job.
is like, I get it. It's cool. It also bums me out a bit.
Yeah. No, just as an
Jack
album.
and Donna.
Well, and it's the problem that the show runs into, because it is still making episodes, despite having started forever ago and having the same characters and like trying to create a continuous thing.
Anyways, was there a point you were making about?
Oh, no, I was just asking, because this is so Arthur-y, as we were saying.
Oh, yeah.
And this isn't your preferred era of Odyssey.
Right.
how do you feel about these types of episodes being like a big part of what like the beginning of Odyssey?
I can I appreciate it as older Odyssey, and I definitely like enjoy them. I'm enjoying them now in their context. I think none of them stuck with me as a kid.
No.
Like,
They're very palatable.
right. Like, they're not bad, but they can very much be like in one ear, out the other, because it just feels like, you know, a episode that you would get on any other TV show. Like, it doesn't, there's nothing like big picture about it. And obviously, like, now going through it, like, we're able to track some like emotional journey, and like there's definitely like stuff being done in this one, but at the end of the day, like, it is just kind of, it's a show, it's an episode with like, that is just a premise.
Yeah.
And this one in particular jumps out as there is no B plot.
No. I kept waiting for there to be a B plot.
It is there. That's got to be so few episodes of Odyssey.
Yeah.
Especially for a full 20-minute episode.
Not even
to not have. It's one plot.
Yeah.
We follow, like, Donna is in every scene.
Yeah.
Which is just, is a place that Odyssey doesn't find itself often.
But it's
good. Weird that this one has two writers.
Yeah, exactly. And, like, as much as we've talked about it, I really do enjoy this episode and, like, what it has to say, you know, morally. Like, and what it talks about, you know, like, I really appreciate how it...
Well, yeah, it gets into some counseling stuff, too.
Yeah, just, like, coping with change and everything and all that. We'll get into it.
Yeah. So the episode begins in the same way these last few have, with the Wit intro, which then jumped out at me as being like, oh, Hal Smith had passed at the point of, like, these episodes airing. Having the Wit intro is, like, an interesting choice.
Yeah.
I mean, I imagine it was more or less being done in tribute to him.
Yeah.
But it is weird now to have episodes where, like, and we've talked about this in the past, but where, like, Wit's like the default intro, but sometimes he's not in the episode, and it's like, why does this have a Wit intro? And, like, I think in these the answer's kind of easy, but
yeah, it's a tribute.
Yeah.
You know, rest in peace, Hal Smith.
And then we start with, like, the standard, like, Odyssey music cue.
Yeah, no, it's so
where, like,
nice,
I can
though.
hear, like, Chris's voice talking over it, even though she's not.
Yep.
Like, it's playing, and I'm like, oh,
Donna's just settling down to blah 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 blah.
yeah, exactly.
Let's see what she's up to.
Yep. And then we cut into the scene. Like,
Yeah.
I'm glad you clocked that as well.
Oh yeah. Iconic. You
And
can't
so-
forget it.
And so the episode starts with Donna at wit's end, ranting to Connie.
Yeah, about how much her life is miserable.
And just all the change.
Yeah, there's a lot of change. And it's actually, I am, as somebody that is, like, very, I'm surprised at how sensitive young people are to change. Like, my nephew, who's 3, complains about too much change. And I'm like, man, that is a mood. I feel like there's too much change. And I really, 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 really like that about this episode. I really, really, really like the Connie-Donna dynamic. I mean, like, I'm just covering that episode where Connie's becoming a counselor, and one is a much worse counselor than she is here, which, whatever. It was really, really good. Anyway, so they're there, they're talking about it, and they basically, Donna just wants stuff to be normal. And that makes a lot of sense. Like, her family is going through an enormous amount of change. You know, her dad, like, basically, you know, it used to be a pretty standard, you know, dad brings home the bacon, mom doesn't work, 2 kids situation. And then, you know, now mom works, both the kids work, dad works part-time and is going to seminary. Like, things
Mom's
get messy.
pregnant. Like, there's
Mom's
just
pregnant.
a lot of, I mean, it's like, obviously even pre them having a kid, and Donna's having another kid, and Donna's the oldest, but it's that just, like, my parents don't have attention for me anymore, and just, like, also, like, yeah, my life is different. Also, like, Donna's in, like, yeah, just with her age and whatnot, it also makes sense that she's, like, trying to figure out,
everything.
Yeah.
What I do? I 16.
Right, like, yeah.
You're mid-teens.
Yeah, you're mid-teens. Of course, like, yeah, it's all kind of compounding here. And she's working a job. I know we talked slightly about the fact that she gets a job in Our Daily Bread. Do you remember what her job is?
Oh, she gets a job at the mall.
Oh, okay.
It's like
It's
a job
just
at the
generic.
mall, like an Avon, or like she works at like a
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I mean, and that's kind of what I figured because
Yeah.
of like the
It's nondescript.
vagueness in this episode, that it wasn't like she was working somewhere in Odyssey that was like established. But
Nah, she's working at Hal's Diner. We wish. Wait, did they name it after Hal Smith?
oh, I never thought
wonder.
about that, but I bet you're right.
Huh.
Yeah, dude, good on you. Now I'm
Wow.
like,
Stumbled it.
now I'm gonna wiki this. I want to
let's-
see when it was first established. Yep, it was first established in episode 369, which is well after Hal Smith's passing, and the wiki does say that its name is a nod to the original actor of Wit, Hal
Aw.
Smith.
And Whit loves Hal's Diner. Goes
Yeah,
there
I know.
Every week or something like that.
Dude, good call. That's quality.
I did not think about
No,
it.
I also didn't make that pool,
Cool.
but it makes sense.
Cool. Awesome. Great job. Show. This is fun. This is fun. See what we're doing here. We're having fun.
And Frank's Breakfast Inn is named after Frank.
And the FBI. Okay. So yeah, basically Donna's venting to Connie, and then boom, crash. We get a dog in the kitchen essentially, and they
Yep.
go to check it out, and it's
A bull
really
in a china shop?
yeah. I feel that. Oh, good Switchfoot song. So yeah, so basically we get this stray dog, and Connie's like, "Oh, there's a stray dog here. We take stray dog to the pound."
Right.
Like that's
This is
pretty
the
much
third time he has come in.
Yeah.
And Connie's like, I don't know how you're getting in here, but Donna, call the pound while I'm holding this dog.
Yeah.
We're going to get this sorted out. If this owner shows up, like, they'll know to go to the pound.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because also, what is this dog even? This dog feels like average mid-size. You want to say like smaller than a golden, but bigger than like a small dog.
Yeah, he feels kind of big.
He doesn't. He certainly doesn't sound small. This is why visuals would be helpful, and we do have the album artwork.
We do.
So basically, Donna wants to take the dog home, obviously,
Yeah, of course.
because children and dogs go together very well.
Right.
And yeah, so she wants to take it home, but she has to ask her parents' permission first, which, great job. Ask your parents' permission first before going online.
And Connie's like, well, we're taking him to the pound for a while.
Because, yeah, this dog keeps breaking into my establishment.
Also, he is very ugly.
Yes.
Connie says that Donna's immediately like smitten with him, and Connie says that she has seen better looking rats.
I forgot about that line. That is so mean.
There,
This poor dog gets
George has
roasted.
some zingers later.
George roasts this dog.
Yeah. So then Donna goes home, and she's trying to pitch to her dad to get this dog, and her dad is busy with his Greek homework.
Yeah.
Points out
it's
the
like
fact
it's Greek to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Points
Dad
out the
jokes.
fact that, like, she already has a fat cat and his name is Ferguson. And Donna's
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, I don't care about Ferguson.
Poor Ferguson.
And then Donna's like, you know what I'm doing? I'm invoking a family meeting.
Yeah, this internal democracy, apparently, where mom's and dad's vote are worth 2, and
Kids are worth one
one.
each. I like it.
it's very interesting.
I don't know. I don't know how practical this would be in my future life, but I'm like, I don't mind this as a concept. I think it's kind of fun. I think that unfortunately it does lead to, once again, woefully underwritten Mary Barkley.
Yeah. Rest in peace. She really needs the
It
nod.
is it's such a bummer.
Can we get Mary Barkley's Breakfast In?
We do have Mary's Story Shop,
Ooh.
which is owned by
Not a-
Novacom and is a bad place.
Oh.
Um,
Not helpful. Not helpful, Dylan.
so sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, it is.
It's very interesting. And we get this thing where it's like this fake trial thing where it's like, I'm presiding and they're talking all so fancy.
It's so great.
It's
And
very delightful.
yeah.
Did your family ever do anything like that growing
No.
up? No, me neither. My dad tried to one time, and then everybody was just like, no.
No, there was not. My family had no facade of democracy.
Yeah,
There was no like illusion that this was some democratic system.
No.
So
yeah,
like
it was
there
all-
was not this.
There were parents and there were children, and the parents
Right. And like
decided everything.
yeah, and like obviously like the setup here is like if the parents agree on something, the kids literally can have no impact.
Yeah.
But if the parents disagree, then
Exactly.
the kids get to choose which parent they like better. Like, there is this problem.
That was exactly what I was thinking. I was like, man, as far as family dynamics are concerned, I see this boiling down to a 3-2 vote all the time.
4-2. Kids each get 1 vote. Parents each get 2.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, it could be 4-2.
Well, because it was either that. It's either going to be 4-2 or 3-3. Mm-hmm. But it's always going to be 4-2. Either 4 on the parents versus the 2 kids,
yeah, sorry.
or the parents are split and the kids choose a side.
Yes. Which, hi Connie, how are you doing today? Can I make a joke about Connie's parents being divorced?
I think you can, and I think you just did.
Woohoo!
It's great.
I'm sorry, Katie Lee. I hope you don't. I hope you have a very happy life, and none of Connie's suffering is
yours.
Is yours as
Yeah.
well.
Anyways, George is very opposed to dogs, and also is doing this whole family meeting thing out of obligation, and
Yeah.
also like believing that it's just like the things have already been decided.
Well, it's like the scene in what is it? Pirates of the Caribbean.
Haven't seen any of those.
Oh, okay. Where basically you can call a parlay and like you have to see the captain. That's what it felt like. Where she was like, "All right, fine. Yeah, I can't."
Right,
mean you.
I'm invoking the
Family meeting.
right.
Yeah.
And so yeah, George is just kind of being like, yeah, it's a done deal. Of course, the kids are voting for the dog. Mary and I will be on the same side. And then Mary, in like her only scene this episode,
Yep. And really
just
her
goes
only
like-
moment.
just goes like, no, George, they're getting a dog. And George goes, no,
I can't disagree with my pregnant wife. I can only make fun of her.
And so that is, yeah, that settles it. So they go to the pound.
Yep.
Where dog catcher Bob Luttrell is talking and sounds like he is a man with 2 teeth. Like, he is so...
Yep. And they're not next to each other.
No. He is so, like, wow.
Hey, you got a rascal because he keeps running away.
Yeah.
We've had him for approximately 5 minutes and he's escaped 3 times.
4 times, actually.
You might think it's my fault, and you'd be right.
Because my name is Dog Catcher, and I can't do my job.
Yeah.
On account of the 2 teeth I have.
No, I mean, I can catch the dogs, I just can't keep them anywhere. It's the old...
I get paid per dog catch, so I've just been letting them out so I can get more money.
I love Rascal. I've made so much money off this dog. Oh my gosh. This is a brilliant headcanon we have here.
We
Anyway.
haven't gotten to do a bit in a while.
No, yeah. It feels good.
So Donna decides she's naming the dog Harry. Because
Like
he's
Styles.
Harry.
Oh.
George explains that she's going to need to take most of the responsibility.
Yeah.
Dog catcher explains that the dog is like 2 years old, but a puppy at heart. and George signs the papers for the dog sight unseen. They go back to get the dog, and he exclaims, "Honey, that is the ugliest dog I've ever seen."
Yeah.
Which he looks kind of cute in the cover art. So good on you, cover art man.
For
whose name I forget, and I feel bad about.
Making the really nice
Gary Locke. Is it Gary Locke? Ah, wait. I gotta boom.
Is it Harry Locke?
Gary
Locke.
Yeah,
Hey!
I pulled that.
Well done. You went way back into the archives for that one.
Uh-huh. I am, good at my job.
Yeah. So basically, this dog won after being emotionally destroyed by the Barkley family. George hates this dog, and I don't know that he ends the. I don't think he ends the episode liking the dog anymore.
No, he does not. And like so Andrew, you have dogs.
Yes, I do.
I have never had a dog. I am not a pet person. I have, like, my parents had cats that stayed outside.
Yeah.
I don't interact with cats. Like I'm just like, I tolerate dogs at other people's houses and like have like a level of appreciation, but also am just kind of exasperated most of the time.
If they're not well behaved, it can be very
George
difficult.
is like a jerk, but I also could kind of get it.
Oh my gosh. I have a little Yorkie Pomeranian that I have threatened, but never actually have, to punt. I mean, she's roughly the size of a soccer ball, and she has a bark that is so annoying, it sounds like she's dying. Like, it sounds like she's in grievous bodily harm every time she squeaks, and she does it constantly every day.
And then Lily's just all slobber.
Lily's all slobber and whining, and she just goes, and she jumps on you and paws at you and just gets fur all over you.
Yeah.
But she's delightful, and she hates me. Both my dogs hate me.
See, I'm not like I could see a future in which I am the George in this scenario. I think I would be way nicer about it than he is.
Well,
but
I
like,
just wanted a dog that liked me. If the dog likes me, then we can be friends and we can work on it and whatever.
I'm just like, pets aren't practical, and that's where it ends.
Well, that's how my dad was.
Yeah.
I've wanted to get a turtle. I've wanted to get what did I want? I wanted to get a hamster. I wanted to get my own dog. My sister has her own dog. I wanted my own dog. My dad said they cost so much money to feed and immunize and make sure they don't get fleas and stuff. Immunize, that's not it. Give them their shots.
Immunize?
Immunize, there you go.
I think you just put the syllable in the wrong spot.
I do that.
The emphasis in the wrong spot. You put the syllable in the wrong spot.
But yeah. No, they are grossly impractical, and getting a new dog does look exactly like this. Getting a new dog, especially if they're young, is like getting a baby, because they just keep you up and they cry and they cry and they cry. But that's how they form attachment. And so you either get to hold them while they're crying, or they don't love you. And I didn't hold Lily while she was crying, and now she doesn't love me.
Yeah.
My mom did, and she loves my mom.
So yeah.
I'm not upset about it. I don't know if you could. Anyway.
All this to say, George is a jerk, but like, I fundamentally get it. Although I think he can be way better. Like, he is an adult. He can handle this.
Yeah.
I also understand his point of view.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And also the fact that like the fact that they just wrote Mary to like full on blindside him with that, and that like
and there's
makes
no
the
fallout.
decision. Like like I can get like that feeling too of like they didn't like have a conversation and come to an agreement, and she didn't like put any real justification behind it. She was just like, I think a dog could be fun. And then, like, doesn't really seem to... She's also, Mary's, like, the one person who doesn't seem to get a downside from the dog in the episode.
No, because...
She doesn't get anything eaten, because she doesn't have anything. Because she's...
Not there. She's not there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, this dog becomes very much a problem. Keeps them up all night. They have to Jimmy tells her to use an alarm clock or something.
Yeah,
and then George makes a joke about it's like, oh, you can see how Lady's keeping us all up.
Right. So when she takes the dog home.
This is very interesting because my sister, right, was in a very situation similar to this, where she had a 2-year-old, and then she got a puppy, and then she got pregnant.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out great.
Good dog, though.
Oh my gosh, great dog, great family, wonderful. But as far as keeping the chaos to a minimum, not the way to go.
Probably not, no. So...
I love you, Colleen. Thanks for listening to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I know you do.
Shouts out to Colleen. Big fan.
Big fan.
So there's... Donna's part of her thing is saying that, like, one of the great advantages of her having this dog is that she'll be less interested in boys, which I think is just a funny line.
Oh, yeah.
And then also the brutal line of George saying that he has seen car accidents that look cuter.
Yeah. What car? I was listening to that while I was driving, and I was like, how?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah. And then we get, like, a montage of everyone's stuff being ripped to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
They're being... Harry is barking all night. It's like 3 a.m. and won't shut up.
Yep.
He, he's dug up the whole flower bed, gotten into the trash, shredded George's favorite slippers, eaten Jimmy's bat.
Yeah.
All the stuff. And then George is like, all right, it's ultimatum time. Get Harry in line or he's going back to the pound.
I don't know if he knows how pets work. George is what I'm asking, because if this is happening, like, you got to give. In my head, this is like 2 days, maybe.
Yeah,
max.
Mm-hmm.
It takes like at least a week to housebreak a pet.
Yeah. I was feeling similar. I get the thing of this pet is Donna's responsibility primarily because she wanted it.
Yeah.
I'm also like, would anyone please
help the
her
child
out? She is a kid. She has not had a pet before. She doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's going poorly because she is ill-equipped. And maybe you're trying to make the point that she's ill-equipped, but just, like, be nice and help her.
Yeah. Honestly, I have that sentiment about pretty much every single parenting technique that's just like, I can just be mean to you so you can learn to figure stuff out on your own.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, okay.
But it worked for the janitor in the Queen's Gambit, so.
That's true. It did. She did become a very talented and mentally ill chess player.
Funny how that works.
That's my plug for this episode. The Queen's Gambit, my new, not favorite, but very much up there show.
That'll still be relevant when this episode airs, right?
Better be. I'll make it so.
We're banking ahead, folks.
Yeah, we are.
So yeah, we then jump to
the dog runs away.
No, it still hasn't happened yet because it is Donna with her dog at like 2:30 in the morning, pleading with it to be quiet so that she can sleep. Then we cut to a scene where Jimmy wakes up Donna, and Donna had fallen asleep because she was studying before work.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jimmy's like, "You're late."
Yeah, you're late for work.
So she goes to work, gets out of work, and at that point, is at wit's end talking with Connie.
Yeah, and basically being like, this dog, like, almost made me late for work. Like, all of this was so bad. She basically vents to her about everything that's been happening. And it makes a lot of sense. And this is when Connie gets to swoop in and be awesome. And it's so great, honestly. I don't have anything else to say.
Like,
just
and I don't know. I mean, we talked about this a bit last episode, but like, did you figure out why Connie's so good in this episode?
Because she wasn't written by Phil Lawler?
Oof. Big oof. No, like specifically, so she is replacing Wit.
Wit, yeah.
This was an episode written for Wit.
Yep.
They rewrote this episode like 5 times to try and like make it work.
Yeah.
And landed on this version where like they're starting to mature Connie.
It's so good though.
It's really good. I'm so
great-
glad they were able to do this. And
because it makes perfect sense. Because
does.
Connie went through all this change.
Yep.
And what we saw last episode, which we said was good, was the parents relating to the kids and being vulnerable. And Connie does the exact same thing here. She relates to the child and is vulnerable and says, hey, I went through something similar to this, and this is how I felt.
Yeah.
That's all she
Right.
did. Like, she
Yeah,
does
it's-
more than that, but if you just
great.
start there, the outcome is benefited immensely.
Yeah, but the thing that that just hit me so hard is like we are 6 years into the show and they are like doing a lot to grow Connie right now.
Yeah.
And then I don't feel like that carries.
No, not at all.
Like she has episodes where
Yeah.
she is locked in.
She is a titan.
We talk about that. We've also talked a lot about episodes where she is just kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And it's such a bummer. Like, we joke now about, like, oh man, like, if Odyssey ever wanted to, like, kill off Wit, it would be great to have Connie step into that role. But it feels like they would still have to do, like, a lot of work pretty quickly to make that believable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whereas, like, they were laying, like, they had her be Wit in this episode and do it great. Because they had to out of necessity. But I wish they would just...
Mother necessity.
I wish they would, have... I don't know. I wish Connie was better written throughout the show.
Yeah, if there
And,
was
like,
a little
just
bit
with more consistency and more of a through line. I realize it's hard to write a character who is growing over the course of 900 episodes.
Yeah, 900 episodes non-bound by chronological time.
Right. Yeah. And, like, right, the official guide even points out that, like, yeah, we started to age Connie up in this episode. She wouldn't graduate high school for another 4 years.
Yeah.
And it's...
She went from talking like an actual child to talking like a slightly older child.
Right, and, like, Donna is, like, a sophomore or junior, and Connie is, I guess, a senior? Like...
Gotta be.
Like, it's that weird thing, too.
Well, and Connie also has all the life experience of everything that she's been
Right.
through
Yeah.
that Donna
It
doesn't
just-
have.
It feels like, I don't know, it feels like characters like Wit and Jack and Tom don't have like an overall story arc because they are adults and well established, and
Yeah, that's
like,
just what they are.
Tom has like a lot going on in like the Novacom era
Yeah.
of
Tom
like
for mayor, Tom
right
for all
there-
of that.
like
I mean,
he definitely
does
has
a lot of things.
he definitely has arcs, but he doesn't have like these big character shifts over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Eugene's, I think they handle well, but they give it because they kind of give Eugene stuff to do. Like, it takes so long for him to become a Christian. Then he has like this huge arc of getting married. Then he's got the arc of finding his father. Like, they give him this big stuff.
Yeah.
Connie becomes a Christian within like the first year of the show.
Yeah.
And then they never quite
She doesn't
figure out what her next thing is.
Yeah.
And different times throughout the show, like, they give her stuff. She gets, like, stuff during the Mitch era. She gets, like, her own radio show. She gets
Yeah.
to be Wit right now. Currently, I guess she's becoming a counselor. Like, they
I
give...
hope so. I hope that continues. Please, dear God, Odyssey, if you're listening, please let that continue.
Yeah, like, they give her these little things from time to time, but it doesn't feel like there's a clear track of Connie's growth over the years. It feels like it's a series of this episode she's grown up, this episode she's a kid again, and like it's fully dependent on like
who's writing, what's going on, because there's not enough. Yeah, no,
Right.
I 100%. And now that you've laid it out, I always thought that was just kind of how all the characters in Odyssey were. But no,
And
it's
there-
not though.
But there is
Eugene,
to some extent. Like they do that sometimes where they
maybe Connie's just way more like Wit in the sense that she doesn't really ever get any chronological, like she doesn't get hardly any chronological character development.
And they do a thing where, like, to service an episode, and other shows do this. This isn't like an Odyssey thing. Like freaking Gilmore Girls does this. But like to service an episode, they will exaggerate her character in different ways. To like, because, you know, she's the character they want.
It makes the show better.
And I think it's really interesting. This is like a huge episode for Connie and Connie's growth, and she's great in this. The next episode that aired is Fences, which is when Connie's dad like cancels his visit to Odyssey. And Marshall Younger has a thing in the official guide where he's like, Fences was one of the worst shows I ever wrote because I poorly portrayed Connie, and Katie Lee let me know and like ripped into me about it, and like I'm glad that she did.
Good on you, Katie Lee. Power to the people.
Good on you, and good on Marshall Younger for recognizing that. But hilarious that we're going from this episode where Connie is very well handled to the next episode where the writer admits that he did a bad job writing Connie.
Bungled it.
So, like, yeah, it is just... I feel like that really showcases what we're saying, where, like, she is kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Sorry.
No. Anyways.
No, I 100% agree. And honestly, that was a lot of good context. Whew, this podcast. Doozy.
Hey. So yeah, Connie, her whole thing here is that her parents split out. Like, Donna keeps talking about how she wants things to be normal. She wants her parents and family to be normal. She wants this dog to be normal. And Connie's like, look, when my parents split up, I wanted everything to be normal as well. And then, like, I realized that was just, like, not going to happen. Like, I had to adjust to a new version of normal. Things were out of my control, and, like...
almost like a global pandemic.
Sure. I mean, new normal has become a hated word in 2020. Like, I hate that phrase because everyone was using it, or unprecedented times, or whatever. It's 2021 now. So, like, I don't know. Are things better? We're recording this in 2020. But it's 2021 when it airs. So, you know.
That's exciting.
But yeah, like, it's just... It's so nice for her to find this... Well, it's nice that Connie can find this point of relation with Donna. Yeah. It's nice that the writers give her that.
Yeah, like Connie has a line where she goes, what I thought was normal had nothing to do with real life, or like with how messy it can be. And like, that really resonated with me, where it's like, I think that, well, in REBT therapy, there's the idea that you have beliefs that inform the way that you perceive the world. So it's like kind of a very worldview centered like form of theory. But the idea that like you can have a goal in your head where it's like, man, I feel like I am always feeling so anxious or so depressed because things are not normal. That inherent belief is something that you can change, and it's based on expectations and things like that, which is what Connie goes into, where she's like, this idea that like, that's what she says. There's normal, nothing weird, unusual, or hard to deal with. Nothing?
Right.
Like, if that's what normal is, that sounds like bliss.
Right.
But that is the difference, and what we would call incongruence, which is the difference between what you want to be true and what you're actually experiencing.
Right. And yeah, so she suggests to Donna, she's like, look, I get that it's hard to cope with all these changes. Maybe you should shift your expectations.
Yeah. That's such a good, like, and not in a condescending way, like, get over your feelings. But
absolutely not. Like, that's what's great about it, is it's not like, screw you, just deal with it. Things are different now. You'll have to figure that out.
Yeah.
It's like, it's so compassionate.
No, it's, I used to want things to be normal too. And things for me got really not normal when my parents split up and I moved and everything was completely different. Like, that's a lot of change. this vague thing called normal that we constantly strive for is not what it seems to be. And upon close examination, this episode shows that, like, that normal falls apart immediately under any amount of scrutiny. Like, how could you actually expect things to be normal and nothing weird or unusual or annoying?
Fair enough. It's at this point then, after Connie's great little, like, speech and back and forth and whatnot, Jimmy busts in the door.
Yeah.
And is like, have you guys seen Harry? I've been looking for him for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which, well done, Jimmy.
Great job.
Like,
looking for this dog
I
for
know,
2
like,
hours that he
good brother.
destroyed his bat.
Yeah.
What a guy.
I know.
Great Jimmy moment.
Yeah. And then they're like, no, and so they go home.
Mm-hmm.
And
George
George is still out putting up signs.
Yep, he's on the outskirts of town because they don't know how far this dog could have gone.
I imagine it's the same alley as the visitors.
Oh yes, of course.
And
he's like, wait a minute, is that Angels? No, it's my dog.
And so he gets home. He does not have the he doesn't have the dog.
No.
There's also, like, he went to the outskirts of towns because, like, he can drive and everyone else has to walk because they only have one car.
Yeah.
Which is just nice. Like, I like
Fun
that.
continuity.
Like, yeah. And so, yeah, they haven't found him. They're looking for signs.
Mm-hmm.
Donna is distraught. And George says, a dog that ugly can't travel incognito for too long unless he gets arrested for impersonating a moose.
Yeah. What?
Brutal.
Wow.
And also, the second half of that makes no sense.
Does the dog look like a moose?
But
Would they
also-
arrest the moose?
But also, like, he can't travel incognito unless he gets arrested for impersonating a moose. If he is impersonating something, he is by definition incognito.
Yes.
So why would it be unless? Like, you set these up as two...
He gets found out because he's trying to be a moose.
But you, like, set up these two... George is saying he can't travel incognito. Like, he will be found out.
Yeah.
And then, but he's setting these up as two contrary thoughts, but they are the same thought.
You make an excellent point. Well, I guess you bungled this episode too, Phil Lawler.
It's Paul McCusker.
I'm just gonna blame Phil Lawler for everything. That's not fair to Phil, but
No, fair enough.
I
It's not fair to Phil, but maybe it is.
can't say I'm a huge fan of the guy.
No. So yeah, then it is Donna downstairs, like, I imagine, like, by, like, Harry's bed or whatever, with the clock ticking. Which also, in A Prayer
sounds like
for George
60
Barkley,
minutes.
you were talking about how there's, like, this weird ticking in the background, and you weren't sure what it is, and this actually has ticking in the background.
But we know exactly what it is.
It is an alarm clock. And yeah, so she's just down there in the middle of the night thinking about Harry, and she's just like, man, like, I can't sleep. I couldn't sleep when he was here because he was keeping me up, and now he's not here and I can't sleep because I'm worried about him. And Mary comes down, and this is, like, the redemption for Mary in this episode and this series almost.
Yeah.
Which is, like, her getting to have, like, a bit of a heart-to-heart late-night conversation with her daughter.
Where she's
and
like,
Donna, well, because she comes in and she says, like, kind of pushing Donna a bit on how broken up she is about this, considering like how much trouble she caused, which just prompts Donna to talk about all the great stuff that, like, she does love about Harry.
yeah,
That hadn't really come up because we've just been seeing the bad. But she gets to talk about, like, why she loves this dog. And it's just sweet.
yeah. Well, and you get this moment where, like, the mom is really seeing past what Donna's showing. Like, in this moment, this is when she realizes everything that Donna's been talking to Connie about and all of the struggles that she's been going through. Because it's very it's super common just in general for people to get pets or have children, like having children when they're having marital issues, because they think that will solve it because it gives something else. But in actuality, all it does is involve a third party. And what we get here is like the Barkley family is not in the Barkley children are not in a great shape right now. Like Jimmy, we don't know much about it, but Donna has had to grow up a lot. Yeah. She's had to start, working. She's suffering consequences for not working. She has her own pet that she has to take care of and feed and do all these things. Over the course of this arc, which is not a super long period of time, we've seen her essentially jump from being a glorified airhead where she's young and there's nothing serious going on. She doesn't really have to worry about anything terrible, to somebody who has a lot of responsibility and has a lot of things going on and doesn't feel particularly supported or known in everything that she's going through.
Who's being forced to be a little bit more independent.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, if you've ever, as a listener, if you've ever been in a situation where you had one parent who worked and one stayed home, and then suddenly they are both working, and you're like, oh, I totally have to recalibrate to my way of life because, I can't depend on them in the same way.
Yeah.
They're not always there.
Yeah.
And, coping with that. And, yeah, I think last episode with Making the Grade, we saw Jimmy's own struggles come out in just this, being overly concerned about his future and putting a lot of pressure on himself in that regard. Yeah, and I think there's a nice symmetry to the real conversation that George and Jimmy got to have at the end of last episode, and what we now get with Mary and Donna. That's just so. And the episode
cool. doesn't even end there, right?
No, it doesn't.
Goes back to
the thing I want to just hit on is Mary opening up and being her and George really don't want their kids to get lost in the middle of all this change.
Yeah, we want to make sure you guys get the attention that you need and you deserve.
Right. We might have we might need to refocus and adjust some of our things in our lives because we can see the impact this is having on you. And while we think all the things that we are doing are right, we maybe could do them better or differently.
Yeah, which is a really a good parent moment.
Yep, I love the sentiment.
I love Arthur and I love this show.
Yep. And then we get Donna going in to talk to Connie again.
Yeah.
And they just have a little chat about Donna kind of repeating back some of the stuff that Connie had said to her, and just how she's been able to use that stuff and just the impact that that's had. And then we get Harry
crashing back into Wit's End.
Yep.
In the back, and she's like, "What are you doing in my kitchen?" Which again, it's Wit's kitchen, but now it makes sense. Okay.
And he is muddy and making a mess.
Yep.
And Donna doesn't care.
And she's ecstatic.
So happy.
And then Connie's like, "Oh wait, no." Connie's upset because she makes a huge mess.
Right.
And Donna's like, "I don't care. I'll clean it up. Yep. I'm just so happy to have my dog back." And then Connie's like, "Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it."
Right.
And that's is that the end of the episode? Is that what we go out on?
Yeah. Well, so the last thing of note is that Connie suggests maybe Harry's not the name for this dog. Maybe you should just call him Normal. Which I think is really fun.
Yeah.
It's a good pet name. It also, Normal is one of the cats in Garfield, which is what kept jumping out to me there.
Wait, Normal?
Normal.
Oh, Normal. Which one is that in Garfield?
Normal is the gray cat.
Oh,
it's the younger cat.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I read a lot of Garfield cartoons as a child.
Yeah, it is not.
It's deep in my memory bank.
Not super relevant, but it did jump out to me immediately when they were like, "We'll call the dog Normal," and I was like, "Normal?
The cat from Garfield?
Yeah.
Lasagna? Mondays?
I hate him." It's editing day.
Yeah.
The worst day.
Yeah. Tuesdays, on the other hand, great days.
Yeah. Anything?
I feel like I'm tuckered out. I've said
Yep.
everything I needed to say. Thank you.
I feel similar.
This episode was great. I enjoyed it a lot. I mean, there was, like we said, it was kind of campy, but it was really enjoyable. And, there was really what it said well. And we got some good character development. Mm-hmm. What about you? Anything to add? Anything to plug? Anything?
No, I don't have anything else I really want to hit on for this. What did we? You plugged Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit.
Did I
is
plug?
So good.
Did I plug a movie or something? I forget what I said.
Oh, you could say something else.
I think I said something earlier on where I was like, I guess that's my plug, but I don't know what.
I don't even remember.
Yeah, that was an hour ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I'm. Yeah, that's all I have to say. So.
And we'll be back next week.
Yeah. To talk about episode 285, George Under Pressure.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
WadFam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or focus on the family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at WadFamChalkPod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Pet Peeve was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Sabo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.